What's up, everybody? Before we get into too much more exciting things with the adventure, I just wanted to leave the audio for the wheel high on this part so that way you can see how it eats up these roots that I typically have to sidestep on all my other wheels. It just goes right through.
Man, that was nuts.
I'm going to turn it back around, and then I'm going to do the same thing from the other side so you can, again, just get kind of a feel for what this thing is capable of.
Not like this. Get mad at me and just walk out.
If I would have tried that on most other wheels that I've ridden, when you go right down the middle like that, because you're going so slow, it makes the torque start and stop in such a weird way that will shut off a lot of wheels or make them beep or make them overpower because you get caught in between each of those roots. And being that it's such a small wheel, it really should have just shut down right there. Just another testament to its abilities. You can go to the side of the roots, you can go over the roots, you can go however you want to with it. It's not going to be a problem for you. So, while I don't recommend necessarily taking the path of most resistance when riding your trails, just know that if you choose to do so, you are in good hands with the adventure. Lillian Young asked a good question. When I said that it's not serious, when I said that the adventure is not serious, what I meant is that it doesn't take itself serious. There's a lot of wheels out there that posture with very big chested kind of designs. They, look aggressive. They're built to withstand everything, and that's great, and that's amazing, and that's phenomenal. But those things are very serious statements. And here on the adventure, you have this fun orange wheel that's, got a white coil suspension, and it's got these white highlight decals with the Inmotion logo on each side, and it looks more like a dirt bike. It doesn't, it's just like a fun little KTM sort of dirt bike. It doesn't take itself seriously. It's not like the bad boy in school. But that said, it could whip the pants off the bad boy in school in nearly anything except for posturing as the bad boy. So, like, can I run this thing into a wall at 50 miles an hour and hope that it's going to survive? No. There are wheels that I feel can do that. Like, is it going to, again, rip at the top high-ended speeds possible? No. But there's wheels that do that a lot more comfortably. I mentioned it in the last video. You get to the higher diameter tires, it's just a whole lot nicer of an experience. This thing, it doesn't take itself seriously, but it outperforms everything else that does. Does it balance better than the v11? And that's another question that Lillian Young had. And there's a couple of ways that I'll say this. One-footed balancing, they are both very, very nice. So if you have one foot on the ground and one foot on the wheel, and you're holding it up with one leg, it feels very good. It doesn't want to walk away from you in any which way. In trolley, it feels balanced right to the center of the trolley handle. You don't feel like it's levering any which way. And then lastly, when you hop on the wheel, yes, it does feel balanced. It doesn't feel like from the center line of the wheel that it wants to move forwards or backwards in any real regard. So, I think that, better, I don't know. I guess that may be subjective. I think the V11 is going to be a little bit taller of a wheel for certain, and this is a little bit shorter of a wheel. So in practice, they're definitely going to feel better for some people and feel worse for other people. If you were a little bit taller of a person and not interested in super duper speed or the newest suspension, then the V11 would probably provide a much more comfortable seated ride for you. So, like when we talk about better balancing, it makes me think about also just good, better, best in any regard. And it's fascinating to think that even though the v14 absolutely shreds all over the v11 in every single thing that's practical in a use case. That somehow the v11 still manages to be viable for taller seated riders and would actually be better for those seated riders. These trails are, guys, I don't really like being redundant talking about the footage that I'm going through because I feel like you guys can just kind of see the footage that I'm going through. But you'll see a lot of things happen in this ride where I heel out a little bit, like hitting some turns, and you'll see a lot of dust go flying and a lot of dirt go flying. And, you know, I've never dropped this wheel one time in the adventures that I've been taking on it. It's just been that reliable for me. The handling is predictable. It's not volatile in any regard. It just, as I said, it feels balanced. When I stand on it to pendulum, to idle at a stoplight or at a stop sign or, talk to a friend in traffic or something like that, it just feels amazing. It doesn't want to get away from me. But in sport mode, as I have it, whenever you lean just a little bit, it just seems to want to give you more. So there's this almost exponential return in the way that it starts to accelerate when you get on it. So while it is balanced, it is definitely still a excitable, very aggressively accelerating wheel.
Same kind of thing. I'm sponsored for riding this thing, so I'm out here just giving it the runs, man. Have you ever seen one of these things before? No?
Ain't never seen that.
How fast do you think this thing could go?
45?
Damn. Right about that, right at 43, 45.
Right at 40,
Yeah. Absolutely. Would you ride one of these things?
Not me, man.
No? Have you ever ridden like a one wheel or like a hoverboard? No hoverboard or nothing?
I tried it, they didn't go well.
No?
So, it didn't go well for me, man.
All right, well, maybe one day. Maybe one day. My name's Johnny, bro.
Nice to meet you, man.
Absolutely, it's my pleasure. Wayne?
Nice to meet you, yes.
Yeah, I have a vlog called Johnny Go Vroom. Would it be okay if I used our conversation on there?
Sure.
Yeah, that cool? Dude, thank you so much. Yeah, it's on YouTube. Johnny Go Vroom.
Johnny Go
Vroom.
Johnny Go Vroom.
That's me.
I find that people have a lot of mixed feelings when it comes to meeting people out in public regarding their EUC. I think a lot of EUC people can be introverts, and because of that, it may be a little alarming when so many people express deep interest in what it is that you're doing and make you kind of the focal point of the conversation or the moment, the topic at hand. But I rather enjoy it. I am in this school of thought that I'm an ambassador. And if I want this to be something that can proliferate and people can do for many, many, many years to come and feel welcome in the communities that they live inside of, then I have to be the best ambassador for this hobby that I can be. So that means when people ask questions, I try to give them concise, clear answers that may be actionable towards either purchasing or checking it out further online. And I think that, that's the least we can do for people who are excited about it, but are maybe a little bit intimidated by it at the same time. So, that's why I shared that exchange. I really like meeting people. I like trying to introduce them to the hobby, and I really just enjoy the exchanges and kind of the awe in people's eyes when they see what it is that we're doing. I know every single one of you that has ridden one of these things has gotten that look of, oh my God, like, baby, it's not the Jetsons, but we're living in the future, that sort of situation. So, I like to meet people in a happy place when they express that sort of curiosity. I don't like to shut it down. I really like to embrace it. Um, I got a couple of requests about the power pads. These power pads did not come with it. There are some power pads that do come with it, and those power pads look a lot like the pads that come with the Sherman S or the Patton. This seems to be the style that the manufacturers have settled on. The pads that I am using at present, these things are called the Clark bio pads. These are the C3 Clark bio pads. They're in a it's an indigo, like a violet blue kind of color scheme, which absolutely smashes with the orange from the Inmotion. I really like the Clark BioPads because, in a way that no other design of pad, I think there's kind of like a knockoff BioPad floating around the internet somewhere, but I do like to try to support Clark. They are innovators in the space. They are super duper kind human beings, and they work really, really hard. Not only that, they're family people, and they have really put a lot of energy into improving the aftermarket space for EUC. So while it is a little bit more expensive to try to support direct from the manufacturer, that is what I typically do try to do in all of these pad cases. Um, Unless there's any heavy modifications to pads like what I had with my Challenger initially, in which case then I'll have those pads modded and printed for me. So that's kind of the story there with the pads. They are from Clark. If you've never used a BioPad, they absolutely fuse you to your wheel. It's insane in a way that you can never duplicate outside of a BioPad. So it's kind of a concave design on the shin and on the Achilles tendon there in the back of the calf. And what that does, that concave design that has like a hollow framing on the pad, is as you apply pressure to it, it kind of grabs your leg and pulls you in closer to the wheel. So, in instances where you're on the trail and things get a little volatile, this thing will grab you and pull you closer. When you're trying to accelerate your wheel at whatever speeds uh, going down the road, when you lean forward, there's kind of this flex, this pliability to the acceleration, which makes you feel a little bit more organic, a little bit more like an organism that is working through the wheel in conjunction with it through this biopad. Now, contrary to the situation that you have uh, with a lot of the Begode wheels, which I think are absolutely gorgeous off the line. I think that the pads that they have with the Master and the T4 and the EX30 and the Extreme, I think they all look fun. I think it's a great looking, fun design. That said, trying to mount onto the naked battery packs is a little bit of a challenge, so you have to incorporate a fairing plate. What Inmotion has done is they've incorporated the fairing plate for you. Now, that makes mounting it easy and perfect. You'll notice on the Adventure there's a orange plastic lip that's going horizontal from the front where the light is to the back where the linkage connects around. It's like a plastic. Think of it like motorcycle plastics, right? Um, where that segment of wheel makes contact with your shin, there's this nice soft padding, and it goes back at an angle, at like a tapered angle there. The neat thing about how they've done these fairings that they have with this narrow tapered angle is that it snugs right up into that narrow tapered angle. So when you're putting the fairing plate in, it fits so good, but without any extra um, like work. It doesn't feel like you're having to jam it there, or you're having to force it to fit. It just seems like it really wants to work. Yeah, to install pads on this, the way it comes out of the box, super duper easy. There are some super competent pads that come with it out of the box. Well, when you get it from eWheel. So, um, I hope that that answers your question. Oh, yo, thanks, Empower31. I appreciate it. Thank you for explaining to me what SAG percentage is. I'm not super duper smart, and a little bit of information every single day, well, that adds up to a lot at the end of life. Some people commented on my day one video about the pedal when it clipped as I was like power sliding when I jumped off the curb. And the subsequent question, I guess the presumption is that are the pedals low, or I guess they're relatively low. And that's not the case at all. No, the angle that I was starting to try to turn at there took the wheel to a place where a lot less of the rubber was on the pavement, and it slid just a little bit. The pedal ended up hitting the ground, which I thought was super duper cool, and that's why I put it back in that like bullet time mode, and I ended up showing you guys that whole like segment because I thought that was dope. Um, I should have busted my butt, but it didn't. Again, just another instance where this wheel, the balance of it, the way that it handles, really allows me to do some peculiar things that I would typically end up getting hurt doing, like in a big way. So there was another question. There's a couple funny questions. Uh, but there. Oh, how is it in soft sand? So the way that Inmotion, this is a really good question. I don't think you realize how good of a question this is. Pardon me, guys. I'm gonna drink some water. So when you ask how is it in soft sand, that is such a good question because of the way that Inmotion gears their wheels. So I know that sounds maybe a little odd, gears their wheels, but hear me out. When you're on the trail with the Inmotion V12 high torque, what you'll end up having is this feeling where you can tell that it's like calculating as it's going. It doesn't just lay out all of the torque that you have. It's like thinking to apply this funky one-wheeled sort of traction control to the situation. So when you're going through soft sand, even on a V12 high torque, you have more than normal ability to control what's happening in the sand. And the little wheel will just go chugga 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 choo choo right on through, right on through. And so if if then let's play if the V12 high torque performs as such in that instance, right, in the sand, then the V14 is going to perform, being that it was designed specifically for the trail, is going to perform quite a lot better. And it does. It does. The power, while far superior to what the V12 high torque has, is more eloquently placed, or at least as equal eloquently placed. You don't feel like you're gonna lose your butt. You don't feel like you're gonna lose it, like you're gonna end up getting hurt or coming off of the wheel at all. It just chugs right along at a nice pace, and it seems to just grab and kind of know where it's at. Again, very unique to the way that Inmotion does their firmware here. Um, I got a really funny question, and it was, have I eaten Chooch? Eesh. You know, I get that, but I haven't. Like, I feel like there's been a lot of things that the homie's been trying to come back from. Like everybody grilled this young man so hard for such things that, you know, I think that if the people that were grilling him as hard as they were, if their closets were on display, I think they would have been a lot more quiet than they were about trying to be so mean to this kid who's in college or was in college. I don't know if he still is, but he's a young dude and he's just trying his best to have fun, right? He's just out here having fun. He's ripping trails. You know how he says it, you know. What up, dudes? Back with another one. I can't duplicate how he does it, but that's his thing. And he just rips those trails. And man, if I said he didn't inspire me, I'd be a bold-faced liar. That young man inspired me to get on these wheels and just go crazy and just move as fast as I could on these trails. And I was like, man, if he can do it, maybe I can do it. And so, passively, I've been kind of just watching his journey as of the last, year, and well, actually a lot longer than that, but over the last year, it just, you know, I don't feel like he is getting the appreciation that his work merits. I'm trying to be careful not to say deserves, because I don't really like to say that anybody deserves anything. I don't deserve nothing. Like, we all make whatever beds that we have, and we all lay in the beds that we make for ourselves. So I don't like to say that anybody deserves anything. But the young man does work really hard at producing some fast-paced, fun content. He breaks it up. Sometimes he has these uh these these songs that he plays, and sometimes he has his voiceovers. And I don't know if you know, but you have to pay for those songs if you want to be able to monetize your channel. So, the young man is actively doing that for each and every one of these videos that he uses audio from a song that, he's paying to lease on. And I just, I really wish that he would have been on the first boat of v14 riders. I wish that he would have had a v14. I would love to come home at night and watch his uploads of him riding the v14, because he's got some great places to ride, and he's consistent, and he's positive. He doesn't poo poo on wheels, even wheels that he doesn't necessarily jive with entirely, even wheels that have dumped him. And the community ends up being so aggressive with the way that they approach topics. And I I know we're better than that. We are. You know, we can be a community of people that lift each other up. We can be that. That is possible. It is possible to watch Wrong Way and to watch Chooch. It is possible to watch Ginger on Wheels and to watch Freshly Charged. There is nothing that says that just because you support one person, you don't have to support another person, or just because you're doing your thing means that you can't share other people's content anymore. Don't be all funny about, attention and who's getting it and stuff like that. Just have fun. Put your heart out there and put your art out there, and be careful where you put your farts in air. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. This stuff was getting too serious. I had to say something stupid. I needed that. I needed that in my heart of hearts. But seriously, though, so did I eat Chooch? No, I didn't. But I get the question, because I'm doing what I feel like Chooch is supposed to be doing. Chooch is supposed to be putting out a lot of these trail ride v14 videos, and he's supposed to be putting out his thoughts on it. I really wish that would have been the case immediately. Maybe it was supposed to be the case, and he didn't want to pay the air freight for it. Uh, you know, uh, this wheel is mine. This wheel is mine 100%. I had to pay the air freight for it, though. So that is, the caveat, and that air freight was really expensive. So, maybe that's what I'm hoping. That's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping that maybe he was propositioned with the wheel and he just didn't want to pay the air freight. And so his wheel's just coming on the boat with everybody else. But I am not amiss to the fact that I have not seen the homie, making content the way that I'm used to him making content. And I know that he was super duper, duper, duper excited about the V14. So I can't imagine why he wouldn't be like, you know, riding it and, putting out content right now. Yo, Zero Alligator. I appreciate the question, bro, about the range. So that is something I noticed markedly, actually, is that on the trails, the range just seems to last for ever, never, ever, 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 ever. But on the street, well, that's a whole nother ballpark. On the street, this thing will drink, 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 especially if you have it in sport mode. I have not tried to, which I feel like is the smarter way to do this. I have not tried to use comfort mode to get to a trail and then switch it over to sport mode to rip the trail. I do believe that if I lived a little bit further from the trail networks that I enjoy, I would do that, and it would give me a lot better range, less anxiety about range. Well, that goes into a lot better range. But yeah, then when you get to the trail, you just get the best of both worlds. Turn your thing over to sport and then just start Scotty ripping, baby. Now, given my experience with the Patton, I've already been doing this. I've already been speculating about the Lynx. And if the Lynx is the same weight as the Patton, and it's faster with more voltage, then it is going to be a scary, fast, fun 20-inch wheel. Using that whole class system. Again, guys, please don't chew me up for these things. So I do think that it is going to set a standard for where the electric unicycle of the 20-inch rim should be. The wheels that can go that fast, well, I call them, and I think this is what they're called kind of unanimously, we class them as hyper wheels. And this seems like it's going to be, a Challenger Master Pro capable speed, keeping up with speed at a 20-inch diameter, which is going to make this thing feel super duper natural. It will feel insane. Coupling that with the fast A suspension, I think what we are going to see up to the point where this wheel is released, I think we are going to see the very best 20-inch wheel that the world has seen thus far. And I would just be willing to just say that with 100% confidence. What Librachem drops, based upon the quality that I've seen across King Song versus Inmotion versus B-Code versus Veteran, the quality that Veteran comes with, they're really heavy on this build quality notion. And so you're going to have something that feels like a sports car of a Range Rover. How would I compare the headlight of this V14 to the V13 or the V11? So the V13 has the absolute brightest, most motorcycle crazy light in the world, and to me that makes it the absolute best motorcycle, best headlight for riding. I absolutely love it. You get to see every single thing. The people who are in front of you that you're driving at, they might not like the headlight as much as I like the headlight. So from my perspective, the V13 headlight is the best. Then the V11 headlight would be the next best because they didn't cap the top of it. Okay. But then the V14 is my least favorite one because it is capped on top. So from the viewer perspective, from somebody who is, the light is shining at them, the V14 is going to be the absolute best one because it has cut off the top of the beam, which means that it doesn't blind you, but it also kills a lot of the throw distance on the headlight. So you get this really considerate headlight. And whatever, I use shred lights anyway on my helmet in order to ride when I ride at night, if I ride at night, when I ride at night, right? And then the second one for the consumer, for the person who's being blinded, would be the V11, and then the last one, which would be ultimately blinding as hell to anybody that's looking at it dead on, that's going to be the V13, which is absolutely bright. Thanks for sticking around. We'll talk again soon, all right? Take care. Yes, please like and subscribe. I will cry a lot. Bye.